Welcome to video 20 of Gamer to Game Developer Series 1, and in this video we'll implement recharge pickups. So we have 4 objectives. The first 3 are to implement the different types of pickups, so health, energy, and resource recharge, and then lastly we'll just set up a recharge pickup group. So just include each one into a single group just for easy placement in the level. Okay, so just a brief description of how it works. So we have here our health recharge pickup, energy, and resource. So the player can walk into it, and an on-trigger enter function will be used to recognize when a player walks into a pickup. And when that happens, the server will then take control of deactivating this pickup, and it'll reactivate it after a set duration. So there are 3 scripts. Each of these pickups has its own script. So the health one has recharge health, and it does access the health and damage script to supply that script with the regained health. So it recharges the health here if the player has less health, and the same for the energy and resource pickups. Okay. So our very first step will be to implement the recharge health pickup. I'll make a new material, which I'll call recharge health. For the texture, I'll assign our health bar texture, which we made long ago, and I'll assign the shader particle additive soft. Okay, now I'll make a new cube, so game object, create other cube, and I'll reset it. I'll change the Y position to 0.5 so it sticks above the ground. I'll change the scale to 0.2, all of them to 0.2, and I'll change the material to our newly made material, the recharge health. Okay, with that done, I'll change the collider to isTrigger because that's what it's going to be. We're going to use a trigger function, and for the trigger function to work, one of the colliding objects needs to also have a rigid body attached. So currently our player with its trigger game object, it only has a collider, which is also isTrigger. So I'll just put the collider onto this cube. So component, physics, rigid body. And I'll turn off use gravity, turn on is kinematic. Okay, that's good. And now for a visual effect, I'll add a light as well. Component, rendering light. It'll be a point light by default, and that's what we'll keep. I'll change the range to 1.8, and I'll change the color to a lime green, so red to 0, green to 255, and blue to 50. Okay, and I'll give it a halo as well, so draw halo, yes. Okay, so that's that for there, for the light. Now let's add a network view, so component, miscellaneous network view, and as usual, let's just turn off synchronization and have it observe nothing, since it'll just use RPCs. And finally, let's attach its script, which is the recharge health script, this one. So I'll just go over here, back again, and just drop in the recharge health script. Okay. And now let's make it a prefab. So going back to the prefab, I'll create a new prefab, and I'll call this recharge health pickup. Okay, and I'll just drag this cube that we've made into that empty prefab. And there we go, that's our prefab done. So I'll just delete this from the hierarchy. Okay, so you just saw me attach that script, so let's go have a look at it. The other 2 scripts, recharge energy and resource, are very similar to it. Well, let's open it up. Okay, so let's have a look at it. What is the summary talking about? It's attached to the recharge health pickup, as we've done. When a player walks into it, then they are given some health and the pickup disappears for a while. So it's the server that handles the deactivation and reactivation of the pickup. And it has just 4 variables. It's really simple. A boolean called taken, float, this is the amount of health that the player will regain when they walk into it, the time it takes to reactivate, and something called rotate speed. This is just a visual effect. So in the update function, you'll see that our pickup cube is going to be rotating about the vertical axis continuously at the rotate speed. It's just a visual effect, no other reason for that. Then we have our on trigger enter function. And when another collider touches the collider of our recharge health pickup, then this trigger will work. And of course, one of them needs a rigid body as well. So what we're saying here is that if the other has a tag of blue team trigger or red team trigger, and let's just go to Unity quickly. And remember, the players, their trigger game objects have that tag blue team trigger, and for the red team player, red team trigger, and that's what it's looking for. So if that tag is one of those two and taken is false, so this pickup hasn't been already picked up, and even though a pickup is taken, when I say deactivate, it's actually, it just disappears really, and we just have this boolean set to false, so that when the player walks into the now invisible pickup, it won't still give them health. So that's it, that's all it is. It's just a simple way to deactivate. Okay, so once it recognizes a tag, once it comes across a tag it recognizes, it'll then access the health and damage script on that player. So it's obviously a player. It'll give health to that player. So let's say it's us, we walk into the health pickup, then in our game we get health, and in all the other games too it'll do the same thing to that script. And then what it'll then do is that it'll check our health. If our current health has somehow, because it's gained health, let's say our health dropped to 80 and our base health, our max health is 100, and we gain 50, then it would be 130. So that's too high, so we just set it back to the max health of 100. The reason why we do this, remember, the health and damage script already does this. It regulates the health. If it goes too high, it'll set it back down. But we do that here too, so there's no glitchiness with the health bar. What'll happen is if the player walks into, if we didn't have this little bit of code and the player regained health, just for a fraction of a second, they'd see the health bar increase just a bit too much beyond the limit in the HUD, and that just looks a little glitchy, that's all. So that's all this is for, simple. Now for the actual deactivation of the pickup, it's the server that takes care of that. So now the thing to remember is that when the player walks into this pickup, it does it on all game instances. So on the server, your game, and everyone else's game, you are walking into that health recharge pickup. So on the server, we just let the server take care of this bit, which is that it'll send a network view. It'll send an RPC to deactivate that health pickup across the network, and it'll buffer it so that new players will see that it is deactivated. They can't use the pickup. And that's important. Maybe it was a weapon pickup or a power-up pickup that you might make, and in that case you would want it to be disabled for a new player that joins the game. But if it was something really simple, then you could live with things being out of synchronization there. You could live with it not being a networked object. Anyway, so after that RPC is sent, we then start this coroutine. So let's have a look at this RPC, the deactivate one. So down here, this deactivate health pickup, all that happens is the renderer is disabled, so the object goes invisible, the light is turned off, and taken is set to true so that no one can pick it up until it's set to false again. Then with this coroutine that we have here, there's a wait time of 20 seconds here, the respawn time. After that time has elapsed, then the next RPC is fired off across the network and buffered, where it's reactivated. Taken is set to false, and the renderer is set to true, the light is on, and of course, so then it's visible to the players, everybody, even new players who join the game, it'll be visible to them. Okay, so that's it. It's very simple, as you can see, and the other two scripts are pretty similar. Okay, so that does it for this step. We'll move on to the next step. We're on to our second step, which is to set up the recharge energy pickup. Okay, like in the last step, let's create a new material. So create material. We'll call this one recharge energy. So recharge energy. Once again, we'll assign the energy bar texture. and we'll change the shader type to particles additive soft. Okay, now this time we don't need to make a cube from scratch. We can just duplicate the recharge health pickup. So let's go over to it, hit Control D, and let's rename it. So let's call it recharge energy pickup. Okay, so now it's the recharge energy pickup. And let's go through. Of course, the light needs to be different now, so a different color. So for the light, I will change the color. Let's set the green, well, let's have a look through it. Yeah, leave red at 0. Let's change green to 220. And set blue to 255. Okay, and that is the color. Okay, and let's change the material here. That's something I forgot to do. So let's change that from recharge health to recharge energy. Okay. Then, of course, we need to change the script. So let's get rid of the recharge health script and let's go attach the recharge energy script. Okay. And that is it for the game object itself. Let me just check. Do I need to do anything else? Nope. And we can drag it in just to see what it looks like. So there we go. It looks pretty nice actually. I quite like this one. So anyway, I'll just delete that from the hierarchy. Okay, let's just quickly open up the recharge energy script. Just have the briefest look at it. Now the only real difference between this script and the recharge health script is this new variable, just other parent. It's just a quick reference. It's just because we have to access the parent game object of the player. So with their health script, remember health and damage script is attached to the trigger game object. So that's why we can just simply say other.getComponent health and damage. In the energy script case, then, well, the player energy script is attached to the main player parent game object. So that's why we just say other.transform.parent and then we access on the parent the player energy script. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. It's no different at all. Same behavior. Okay, so that does it for this step. We'll move to the next. We're on to our third step, which is to set up the recharge resource pickup. Once again, we'll make a new material. We will call this recharge resource, and we'll attach the resource bar texture. There it is. We'll change the particle type to particles additive soft again. Okay, and just like before, we can just duplicate either one. I'll just duplicate the recharge energy pickup. So just duplicate. I can rename it. I can hit F2 and just rename it from here even. So recharge resource pickup. Okay, so that's its name. It's been renamed. Let's change the material to recharge resource. Let's change the color of the light. So no longer a blue color, it's now going to be red 220. The blue will be, well, the green will be 30. And blue, we can leave it at 255. Alright, now let's get rid of the recharge energy script and drop in our recharge resource script. Okay, that's done. I'll just quickly open it up and just show you that it's absolutely the same as the recharge energy pickup. All that's different is just the names of various variables. Okay, so that completes this step. So that means we're ready to actually just make a simple group. We could actually just put them right now. You could just place them individually wherever you wanted, and they would be working right now. The player could go and walk into them, no problems, and it'll function. But I'll just have another just quick step where we'll just put them all in just one group in a single parent game object for easy positioning. We've reached our final step, which is to set up the recharge pickup group. and then we'll go ahead and build and run the game. Okay, let's go ahead and drop our pickups into the hierarchy window. So I'll start with the health pickup. I'll change its X position to -2. Okay, I'll now bring in the recharge energy pickup, drop it in. I'll leave its position alone. So let's zoom out a bit. Are they too close? Nah, that's fine. And then I'll drop in the recharge resource pickup. Okay, and this one needs to move out to an X of, say, 2. Yeah, okay. And then what I'll do then next is to just have an empty game object. So I'll just go ahead and create a new empty game object. So game object, create empty, and I'll reset it. And I'll set its Y to 0.5 so it matches up with the middle recharge pickup. So it's easy when you position this around, it'll be easy. You can tell where all the others are going. And I'll just rename it to recharge pickup group, or maybe just recharge group. Yeah, that's easier. Recharge group. Okay, and just drop the other 3 into it. Done. Okay, so that's our group. We now have a group of each of the pickups. Now you'll notice something. You'll notice that the lights of 2 of them are not visible. So we need to go change our render settings. So what we should do is to go over to Edit, Project Settings, and head over to Quality. Now, in the good setting here that we see, what we need to do is to change the pixel light count. So I'll change it from 2 to 4. There we go, and now we can have more lights in the scene. And I'll do the same thing for beautiful, I guess. I'll just bump it up to 4. So that allows us to have more lights. And you'll see that with the blaster as well. You remember the blaster has a light. And previously when you fired lots of blaster shots, you'd see that the light wouldn't show up for some of them because there's a limit to how many there can be at the same time. So by doing this, we have a simple way to, I guess, have a light. And actually, once we use light mapping, we can actually even just deactivate the light after carrying out light mapping. But that's near the end of the series anyway. Okay, so we've got our, I guess you could say, our recharge group all set up now. We can save, we can, I guess, build and run and try it out. So file, build and run. I'll set this one up as a server, and I'll try from here. So connect, join the red team. Okay, so those are the recharge pickups there. How about I just try building some stuff to just use up my resource. And let's go along and walk into it. Alright, there we go. So we've picked up the resource pickup. It's gone. Let's have a look at the server, and we can see that it's gone from the server as well, which is good. Let's just pick up the other lot. So I'm just firing away aimlessly. There we go, and I picked up the energy pickup. Okay, let me just disconnect now. So I'll disconnect, connect. So you can see that they're there in the background because this isn't a joined game. Now I've joined, and yes, as a new player, I can see that it's not there, and it's just appeared now. So let's go, and on the server it has appeared, which is very good. So we can see that they're all in sync. Let's go ahead, run into all of them, pick them all up. We can see on the server that they're gone. Now we can, I guess, go ahead, connect, and join as another player, and just watch it, wait for it to return. Okay, it has appeared somewhere. Let me find it. There we go. And they'll all appear one by one. Okay, that's really good. Now the next thing to do is to disconnect and disconnect here, shut down the server. Now let's make this one the server and make this one the player. just really briefly, just a quick check. And once again, just go ahead, let me just build some stuff, use up some resource, run into these. Yes, I'm able to pick them up, no problems whatsoever. Disconnect, reconnect, connect as, well, let's just try a blue team player. Okay, and there we go. Now let's just wait for it. We should see it appear in the server as well as the game. Okay, we see that the energy one has appeared. We should soon see, yes, we've seen the resource and the health. Okay, so it's working perfectly. So that's it. And oh yeah, by the way, you can see that they rotate. So our little bit, I guess, pointless code really, but I guess it makes it slightly more interesting that they're rotating. I quite like the appearance of the pickups themselves. They're quite bright. It's easy to find them. Okay, so that is it for this video. We've done something pretty simple but necessary, and it's quite interesting too, which was the implementation of our pickups. And you can extend this to whatever. You can extend this to weapons, power-ups. It's just up to your imagination how you alter the code. And that's it for this. The next video is going to be about something very important, which is fall damage. So that's something we really need to implement into our prototype game. Alright, well, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.